Wood should not last 1,000 winters in freezing rain, coastal wind and salt air. By modern expectations, it should split, soften and disappear within a few generations. Yet Viking ships, halls, churches and harbour works endured conditions that destroy modern treated lumber in just a few decades. This survival was not luck, nor was it the result of a single secret ingredient. It was a disciplined system that combined forestry knowledge, seasonal timing, physical modification, and long-term maintenance. If you follow Thermal Vault for lost thermal and material knowledge, this Viking timber system is honestly one of the most important lessons ever recovered. Why Viking builders chose trees as carefully as weapons. Pine, spruce, oak and larch were chosen not only for strength, but for how their internal chemistry resisted decay. Trees were often felled in winter when sap levels were lowest. This reduced internal sugars that feed fungi and insects. Cold season cutting also minimized moisture locked inside the wood, making later preservation far more effective. Why time mattered more than speed in Viking timber preparation. Fresh wood was rarely used immediately. Viking builders, seasoned timber for years, sometimes even decades. Logs were stacked off the ground, protected from direct rain and exposed to airflow. This slow drying stabilized the fibers and allowed natural resins to crystallize inside the grain. Seasoned wood shrinks less, cracks less, and, well, it resists microbial attack far better than green lumber. These days, modern builders actually skip this step entirely, and honestly, that alone explains a good deal of today's rapid wood failure. Why was fire used, you might wonder? Well, it was a precision tool, not just some blunt force. One of the most misunderstood Viking techniques was controlled surface charring. Fire was applied really carefully to posts, beams and hull planks, especially to those exposed to moisture. And, contrary to what some folks might think, this did not weaken the wood at all. Instead, it transformed the outer layer into a carbon-rich material that fungi just cannot digest. Charring also sealed up the surface pores, which reduced water absorption while still allowing internal moisture to escape slowly. This clever approach prevented the wet-dry cycling that so often causes rot and splitting. Archaeological evidence from ship timbers and structural posts confirms consistent use of this method. So, why did pine tar become the backbone of Viking preservation? After seasoning and charring, Vikings applied pine tar, which is honestly one of the most powerful natural wood preservatives ever produced. Pine tar was distilled slowly from resin-rich wood in low-oxygen pits, creating a thick, flexible substance rich in antifungal and water-repellent compounds. Tar was heated before application, allowing it to penetrate deeply into the grain. Unlike modern coatings, pine tar never fully hardened. It expanded and contracted with the wood, sealing cracks instead of creating them. Repeated applications over time improve protection rather than trapping moisture. Ships coated in pine tar resisted saltwater, ice and ultraviolet damage far longer than untreated wood ever could. Why Viking joinery prevented water before preservation was even needed. Preservation alone was never enough. Viking builders designed structures to avoid water accumulation entirely. Roofs were steep, overhangs were generous, posts rested on stone rather than soil. End grain, the most vulnerable part of wood, was rarely left exposed. Ship planks overlapped in clinker construction, allowing water to shed naturally while flexing under wave pressure. Buildings were ventilated deliberately, allowing timber to dry after storms. Rot requires stagnant moisture, and Viking design refused to allow it. You know, maintenance was just assumed by the Vikings, not avoided. It was simply part of their way of life. Vikings didn't really believe in permanent solutions, not at all. Instead, they believed in systems that actually improved with care. Tar was reapplied, and damaged sections were repaired early on. Structural weaknesses were always addressed before collapse could even happen. This mindset honestly extended timber life, not because the wood was invincible, but because failure was never ignored. You know, small maintenance prevented catastrophic decay, and well, how this knowledge can still be applied today. This system is entirely usable now. Begin with properly seasoned wood whenever possible. Oh, and avoid sealing green lumber. Char ground contact or expose surfaces evenly using a controlled flame, then brush off any loose carbon. After that, apply heated pine tar or a traditional oil tar blend while the wood is warm. So, set posts on stone or gravel instead of soil. And, you know, design structures to shed water aggressively and allow airflow. It's important to reapply protective coatings periodically rather than relying on permanent seals. These steps actually mirror Viking practice, and, well, they routinely outperform chemical treatments over long time spans. Now, why this knowledge vanished rather than failed is, honestly, a fascinating question. Industrial building prioritized speed and uniformity. You see, Viking methods require patience, skill, and respect for material behavior. It's quite fascinating, really. They were abandoned not because they stopped working, but because they did not fit factory timelines. Yet the evidence remains. Ships raised from cold seabeds, churches standing on timber foundations centuries old. It's remarkable how these traces endure. Roof beams still sound after 1,000 winters. Why the Viking timber system matters now more than ever. As modern materials fail faster and environmental pressures increase, Viking timber preservation offers a proven, low-impact alternative. It was not primitive. It was sophisticated, observational engineering refined over generations. If this kind of forgotten knowledge matters to you, subscribe to Thermal Vault and share this guide with fellow history and survival enthusiasts. The Viking timber secret survived 1,000 winters because it respected time, materials and maintenance. Those lessons remain just as durable today.